your asset protection attorneys.
Hi, this is Brian Stam. In this community, our homes are not only one of our largest assets, but they are very personal to us, like one of our prized possessions. People often ask, how can I protect my home from the government or a nursing home? And how can I guarantee that it will go to my kids when I die?
This is Brad Stam. The gold standard for planning to protect your home is to put it into an irrevocable trust. An irrevocable trust provides protection from the nursing home after 5 years, and it keeps your house out of the court process so it can smoothly transition to your children. Additionally, our irrevocable trusts allow for the home to receive your date-of-death value, so when your kids get it, choose to sell it, they won't have to worry about paying capital gains taxes. It is simply the best planning to protect your home.
If you're interested in protecting your home, give us a call. We'd love to sit down and talk it through with you.
Let the Stam family help your family. Call 631-5767 or go to stamlaw.com.
Hey, it's Bulldog here for Window Nation. Spring is a great time to open your windows, and wait, your windows won't open? They leak? They're cracked? Or they need repainting? Again? Getting top-quality custom-fit windows from Window Nation is easy and affordable. During the More You Buy, the More You Save sale, you could save up to 50% off. Plus, you could get them with zero interest for 5 years. During uncertain times, one of the best investments you can make is in your home. So visit windownation.com now to book a consultation.
Water damage happens fast. Call on the cleanup and restoration specialist at 1-800-SERVPRO to help make it like it never even happened. That's 1-800-SERVPRO.
Franchises are independently owned and operated.
I'm John Woyden, president of Great Lakes Building Systems, where our business is protecting your business. We install and service complex fire protection, security, and video monitoring systems. You've worked hard to build your business. Protect your employees, yourself, and your assets by leaving your company's security to the experts. Call Great Lakes Building Systems at 892 Lake for a comprehensive security assessment. We keep an eye on your business so you don't have to. Protecting your business is our business.
Call Great Lakes Building Systems at 892 Lake or go to glbs-inc.com. Golf season is back at Lockport Town and Country Club, and it's bigger than ever. They're offering 2 golf seasons for the price of 1. That's right. Get your 2026 dues waived when you prepay for 2027. Experience Lockport's brand new golf simulators plus a premier new practice facility opening this summer.
FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester, an Odyssey sports station. Welcome into the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia, where the voice of the Rochester fan is heard. Pull up a stool and join us at 866-4326. This is WGR Rochester, and the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia is on now.
2 hours of sports talk excellence here in the Flower City, my hometown, and glad you're with us here today. A lot to get to. Join us, 585-866-4326, 585-866-4326. You can hit us up on YouTube and Twitch. We are streaming there. We are always streaming for free in the Odyssey app, 95.7 FM and AM 950. Those are the platforms. This is the show. Good afternoon, Gene, with you here. Tim Schneider, a fine producer who is drugged up.
No drugs. I think that's the crappy part. I wish they would give me something for it. It's just
you're just so like
they're pounding me into the ground. Yeah, I've got a pinched nerve that I've had for over 2 years now. We're finally getting down to it. I went today for another appointment. I have an MRI scheduled now, so we're getting there.
Jeez.
But the poking, the prodding, and the headaches that come with it are wearing me down. But we're gonna get through it.
If you missed yesterday's show, and this is where I thought I knew a lot about Tim. Tim disclosed that just kind of casually, that was like the biggest humble brag ever in the history of the sports bar. Honestly, like you can't top saying, oh, yeah, one time current UConn head coach Dan Hurley gave me the double bird. Like that would be a badge of honor if I'm an opposing fan and I'm yapping. The modern day Bobby Knight got his last night. And if you missed the explanation behind that, and it is a true story, you can download the Odyssey app, go back and listen to the show in the 1 o'clock hour yesterday. You can always, if you missed the show, you can have it on demand anytime. And if 1 to 3 doesn't work in your day-to-day, well, then you can serve it up at night. We are like your 2-hour daily Rochester podcast concerning sports. That's the way I kind of explain it to people. This is the way the world is heading, and that was an unbelievable story yesterday. I was very, very pleased that that Dan Hurley got his – I didn't think that was much of a game last night, to be quite honest. Sure, UConn made a little bit of a push there at the end, but Michigan was clearly the better team, in control. And let this be a lesson for all of us. And tomorrow we'll be joined by PJ Glasser, our betting expert, as he normally joins us on a Wednesday. But picking a 1 seed next year would be smart in your bracket. Since this current format existed since 1985, 64, 68 teams. Now we may expand it, but do we really care about team number 73 or 74? I don't. You shouldn't. Picking a winner, that's the key to winning your bracket. If you don't pick the winner, good luck winning your bracket. It's not a very good bracket if maybe once in a while you'll get, say, UConn a couple years ago, 3 years ago now, they were at 4 and they won it all. But that's the outlier. Since we went to this current format, a number 1 seed now has won the championship 67% of the time. That is a stat. 2 of every 3 years, it's going to be a 1 seed when they play one shining moment. Okay, that's what's going to happen. And in this day and age where it's chalky chalk, that's not going to change. So keep that in the back of your mind next year when you're looking to pick your bracket. I just happened to pick the wrong 1 seed, Tim, this year.
And me too.
Yeah, that was
Arizona.
Yeah, and so but congrats to Michigan. And we can put this to rest, too. 26-year drought for the Big Ten to win a national championship. And you think, oh, Big Ten, Indiana, and Ohio State. And you got to go back to Izzo and Mateen Cleaves in the year 2000. That's crazy.
I think that was also against UConn, wasn't it?
Might have been. I will take your word on that. But that was the Calhoun years. I didn't like him either, but I really don't like this current guy. So that happened last night. But we're going to double up on the hockey talk here today for good reason. Coming up in hour number 2, the head coach of the Rochester Americans, Michael Leone, joining us. The Amherst get it done last night in Cleveland. You might have missed this just because when we're going to talk a little Sabres here in a bit too. But with the national championship in basketball, with the Sabres, the Amherst played the oddball Monday night game in Cleveland, and they go to the shootout, and they win. So that is the second time this year, in as many weeks, that the Amherst get the extra point in the shootout, and that's important. By doing so, and thank you to Warren Kozel and the Amherst front office there, the PR department, it's now, I can tell you what the magic number is, 6. 6 is the magic number. So by this time next week, theoretically, we can put the rest here that the Amherst are in the postseason. Maybe they're locked in as the 5. At this point, I don't care. Like what Saturday night kind of showed to me, and maybe that was just Providence mailing it in. I don't know. I don't know the Providence Bruins all that well. But I can tell you this. First period, Providence looks fast. They look strong. It's like, oh, this is actually, you can tell. Okay, eye test. And the Amherst were the better team in the second and for most of the third. And the Amherst ended up with the majority of the points. So if you could just do this in a 5-game series, get by that playing round, hopefully there will be it'll be a fun spring downtown. Michael Leone joining us here in the 2 o'clock hour. The Amherst last night, by the way. Ooh, third period, outshot 14-1. Okay, how did that even get to overtime? We'll talk about that with our friend Andrew Mossbrooks, who it cracks me up. Like last night, the Don Stevens tour continued. This is like the best thing since Kobe Bryant, or I'm expecting something like LeBron, like Don in Cleveland. It wasn't a jersey; it was a plaque. Okay, they did something different, and they paused. And first thought is like, wait, where do they put the play-by-play? It's like they're they just put up a folding table and they're right in the middle of the arena. So maybe that gets them closer to the action. I don't know. But the funny part is when they're taking the PR photo with whoever the the front office honk is for the Cleveland Monsters and Don, Andrew's like ducking out of the way. He's there in the broadcast. He's got to.
We were on air at the time.
Yeah,
we didn't go to break for that.
Yeah, it's good that they knew that that would be coming up. So Andrew will be joining us here at the bottom of this hour. You're welcome to joining us. Of course, our phone is brought to you by the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub out in East Rochester. The Good Smoke Barbecue Pub. My apologies. I'm the one not going to the chiropractor. Good Smoke, my apologies. You get this one for free. The Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line is 866-4326. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street, East Rochester. Good Smoke BBQ.com. The table is set. The Amherst winning last night, and they are going to be playing Wednesday, and then they play Friday. What on earth? It's game day off, game day off, game day off. And then back-to-back games. There's a brutal stretch here. But if you can just whittle away at this, Rochester right now 7 points up on Utica. Magic number is down to 6, which, that would check out.
Yeah, they got to get points. They got to get half the points left available to them, or have that math work out to where Utica or Belleville keep losing and.
Belleville has the one game in hand. I'm not worried about Belleville. Just now what getting the 4 points here between Cleveland and Providence means is that you can now take care of business yourself. That is certainly a welcome sight. Sabres at 102 points on the season. They're dead even with Tampa, sweeping the season series from the Lightning. Now, last night wasn't quite the game that we saw 8-7. However, did it not feel like a playoff game? If you're watching this, did it not feel like you're paying attention to everything happening in the neutral zone? And it's kind of a reminder, too, that about hockey, it's one little thing could lead to something really, really good or really, really bad. And it's the tying goal for Tampa because there's Peyton Krebs. This is a play that you got to make. Just get it out of the zone. And I don't know if he half-assed it. He didn't play it correctly, obviously, and then all of a sudden a good team like Tampa, bang, bang, back of the net. The other thing, too, is I cannot – I'm always amazed at the skill of these players. The tying goal off a deflection. Byron with the shot. How anybody in this league with a puck flying in, say, 90 miles an hour, can make the hand-eye contact and make sure that you're getting the deflection. If you just make contact, I'm happy if you just make contact, right? You all go to the batting cage you're not making contact on anything that fast, but to make the contact and then to get the deflection, fantastic play last night. And Zucker, the Sabres, they end up winning this 3-2 in regulation. They sweep the season series from the Lightning. Now, that's the job isn't done here, obviously. Sabres at 102 points, dead even with Tampa. However, Tampa has a game in hand. Now, I could hear you saying, Gene, does it really, really matter? Because all these teams that are going to get into the postseason, particularly the wild card teams, they're going to have to fight and claw their way in, and they're going to be hot theoretically. And yesterday on the show, we were joined by Brian Koziel. And he brought up kind of this is the obvious point to me, why it's in the Sabres' best interest here to win the division.
I think Montreal is a scary first-round opponent. They have a ton of speed. They've got maybe one of the most clutch players in the NHL we've seen this year in Cole Caulfield. He seems to thrive under the pressure. And the fact that we know that pressure gets tuned up come playoff time, they've played really, really tight, intense games with Montreal this year. As far as the entertainment level goes, I think a Buffalo-Montreal matchup would be incredible. If I was choosing the opponent, I would rather them go ahead and win the Atlantic and face one of the wild card teams.
Yeah, and the way it's kind of shaping up right now, let's just kind of assume that the Hurricanes will take care of their business and they will be the top seed, which means they would get the second wild card. If I'm a betting man right now, I think the Sabres actually get this done when I look at both schedules. Even though the Sabres or have one fewer game. Sabres in Boston would be a lot of fun, and no, that wouldn't be a pushover. But I think Montreal's better than Boston. It's not just because they're in the head in the standings. The Sabres' schedule is easier. That's a fact. Now, Sabres at Rangers tomorrow. Now, the Rangers, yes, they did put up 8 this week. They did beat Detroit. Detroit is kind of limping to the finish line here. But you still should win at MSG. Columbus on Thursday, and yes, Columbus is one of these teams that's farting around. They're going to need those 2 points, obviously. Take care of your business there. At Chicago on Monday, that should be 2 points. And it's strange for me to say Dallas on Wednesday the 15th should be 2 points too. But the Stars are kind of like in that division. We talked about this. The 3 best teams are coming out of the Central in Colorado, Minnesota, and Dallas. And to me, that's just kind of with Colorado ahead there. It's almost unfair that Dallas has to play Minnesota, but this is Gary Bettman's playoff format. If you're Dallas, is there really that much motivation to come up in Buffalo? Maybe. I don't know. But to me, I look at that and I say, why can't the Sabres get 7 of a possible 8 points there? You should get 2 against the Rangers, 2 against Columbus, Chicago, Dallas. Maybe you trip up in one of these games and you leave a point or 2. Now, Tampa, this is where we bring in our friend Dan DeLorean. He's actually in the other room right now, but they're at Ottawa tonight, and Dan is always the guy. We all have a friend like this when it comes to sports. Nervous about everything. Nothing's good. Dan, Mets this, Vikings this. Oh, I don't like Ottawa. Tampa's going to be mad. I'm like, Dan, you're getting Tampa off a back-to-back. That's a good spot for your Sens. So tonight we'll be scoreboard watching. Hey, that's something like tonight. You'll look at your phone. Okay, what's Tampa Bay doing? Tampa Bay is Ottawa tonight. Tampa Bay is at Montreal on Thursday. 2 thumbs up. Now, mind you, I'm painting these pictures. I haven't even discussed the scenario that the Sabres kind of fall flat. And so does Tampa, and Montreal cruises through. And you could, in theory, have Montreal winning the division in a Sabres-Tampa first-round matchup. That would be brutal.
That would be awesome.
I want that as a second-round matchup. Is that fair?
That's fair.
We can discuss this. Yeah, we can discuss this, but I don't want that as a first-round matchup. Like, give me Ottawa beating Tampa tonight, and give me Montreal beating Tampa. But as long as the Sabres take care of their business, that would be completely unusual here to see Montreal just kind of leapfrog them both. But it's possible. So, again, Tampa Bay at Ottawa tonight, at Montreal on Thursday. They're at Boston on Saturday. Let's review. Ottawa needing points, Montreal needing points, Boston needing points. Tampa goes back to host Detroit on Monday. Now, what kind of Red Wing team will they be on Monday? They might be totally toast by that point. You got to say maybe they already are. And then the Rangers on Wednesday. And will the Rangers be thinking of golf or Cancun or whatever, cliche you want to throw out there? Perhaps. Let's put it this way. If the Sabres need the Rangers to do us a favor here by Wednesday, then it'll be Sabres-Montreal. So you got to get this done before the 15th. So it kind of lays out nicely for Buffalo, in my opinion, that they could get this done. It's not perfect. Of course, we will have the action for you, Sabres, tomorrow night that will be on CMF. I beg your pardon, because we have the Amerks tomorrow night. I should know that. Amerks and Syracuse. 12 games against Syracuse. Here's one thing I can almost guarantee. We will not have 12 games against Syracuse next season. We're not with Hamilton coming on over, and it'll give you a little bit more variety, but one more trip for Don out to Syracuse, and then Andrew Malsbrooks will be joining us here in a few minutes. I believe he'll be taking the roadie to Springfield and then Providence. And if the Amerks win, regardless of what Utica does, again, 2 points in Syracuse, 4 points this weekend, that's it. Maybe you could rest some players, because I don't see the Amerks climbing in the standings all that more, but we'll talk to Andrew here coming up in a little bit. Our phone number, 866-4326. That is the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman Line, award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street, East Rochester, goodsmokebbq.com. Baseball is the one thing I like is that baseball can kind of call audibles here, and that's what they've done in a few places today. Cleveland was supposed to be a night game. They are playing now a day game against the Royals, so they're in the bottom of the first, no score. The Mets were going to be a night game. It's chilly in New York. That's going to be a 4 o'clock pitch. The Orioles against the White Sox. Nobody would go at 7 o'clock. Nobody's going at 3 o'clock to go see the Chicago White Sox, so let's make everybody a list a little bit more warm here. As far as the Red Wings, 42 degrees, the game time scheduled forecast tonight at Allentown, the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. That doesn't sound very pleasant. Haven't seen anything about that game being called off. Interesting note here that tomorrow the Wings are going to go up against one of the, in my opinion, one of the best pitchers when healthy in the National League. That's Zach Wheeler. So Zach Wheeler wasn't a go from week 1, but they're going to give him a rehab start down at Lehigh Valley. I would put this question out to anybody. I think we're a great baseball town, but if Zach Wheeler, if this was reversed, would you go out on a 45-degree night to go see one of the best in baseball? We did this for Garrett Cole because you're a Yankee fan, and that's really cool. And it was a Friday night, and the weather was really, really good. Hey, the weather dictates everything in our town. I don't mean to kind of say we're not a great baseball town. I think we're very, very solid. But I remember Bryce Harper coming in. Remember Ronald Acuna coming in. So, again, this is just kind of one of those sports bar kind of theoretical conversations. If Zach Wheeler were throwing a start, like Luis Heel, he was the AL Rookie of the Year, but that's Easter Sunday, and it was opening week there too. So, again, April baseball, whether it's here or other places at the AAA level, always kind of a tough go. We will talk to Andrew Mossbrooks. He is one of the voices you hear certainly on Amherst Hockey. We talk about, too, like what a special night that was on Saturday against Providence. There's only one home game left in the regular season. That's going to be coming up on the 17th against those Cleveland Monsters. So Andrew was in Cleveland last night. Hopefully he got enough sleep, and he'll be joining us coming up next. You're always welcome to join us again, 866-4326. Along with Tim Schneider, my name is Gene Battaglia. Dan DeLorean also here. And this is the Sports Bar on WGR Rochester.
WGR Rochester Sports Update.
Amherst's magic number is at 6 to make the postseason. This after the shootout win Monday night in Cleveland. Amherst tomorrow night playing at Syracuse. Head coach Mike Leone joins us next hour. Andrew Mossbrook's joining us next year in the Sports Bar. Sabres sweep the season series with Tampa Bay. Lindy Ruff loving the home crowd.
I thought the energy inside the building was fantastic, and you could feel it right away. There's a lot of people walking around already, and a lot of people with Sabre jerseys on, and I can tell you that it's getting that feeling that, people are ready to fill the plaza and be ready for a real good playoff run.
Ruff this morning with Jody Biasi on WGR Rochester. Sabres tomorrow night playing the Rangers. That game you can hear on 96.5 WCMF. Rochester Red Wings tonight begin a series at Lehigh Valley. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, WGR Rochester.
Straight up with no chaser. You're in the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester.
You know, a team player here, besides Tim Schneider and Dan DeLorean. Team players Andrew Mossbrooks, because their last night is on the scoreboard, timeout and play. Let's honor Don Stevens in Cleveland. And Andrew he's sitting in his broadcast location. Andrew, I caught that. You're doing everything you can to duck out of the way to make sure that Don and the Monsters had their moment. Andrew, how are you today?
I'm Gene, I'm a little tired. We got in. I think when I pulled up to the front of my apartment, it was about 3:20 in the morning. So, thankfully, we work with great people that allowed me to work from home / get a little more sleep. So I'm getting there, and hopefully we'll be recharged for tomorrow at Syracuse.
Yeah, as last night. Let's go. Well, I want to go last night, and I want to go back. We'll kind of jump around here, but let's start with last night here. Andrew, they get the 2 points, but listening to it and kind of like, wait a second, 14-1, the shots on goal in the third. How did the Amherst survive the third in the first place there?
I think there's been a lot of games recently, Gene, where the Amherst have been the better team and didn't get the result that they probably deserved last night. Probably the opposite of that. Cleveland was at times all over the team. I think that's not to say that Rochester did not have segments of good hockey, but certainly that third period, I think that's the glaring one. I had hoped that would benefit Rochester in the shootout. I was saying to Don as we were getting into setting up for the shootout that, Ivan Fedota, the goaltender for the Monsters, had seen, I believe, 2 shots over his previous 27 minutes of play. So to go from that to then getting into a breakaway challenge is not ideal. And despite Cleveland getting that first goal in the shootout, Rochester rallied. Vsevolod Komarov was the third shooter. He came up with the game on the line, had to extend it. And you sit there and sometimes think, okay, you're sending a defenseman out. Kind of a bold move from Mike Leone, but he knows Komarov was an offensive defenseman, actually led the Quebec League in Major Junior a few years ago. So was able to rely on that. He had a great move. Carson Meyer followed it against his former team, and Rochester, despite some heart-skipping moments, were able to still emerge with 2 points.
Yeah, and we said this to Mike Leone last week. Hey, the Amherst finally broke through in a shootout, and now they get another one. Andrew, is it something different that the team was focusing? Does these points matter, or is it more of the category of it's the shootout and everything will even out eventually here? Your thoughts on how the Amherst, have put an end to the hey, we can't win in the shootout storyline?
Yeah, through the first 4, I think what was more glaring was that I want to say 3 of them went into extra innings, if we will. It's baseball season. We can use that now. So I want to say, I'm not looking at the numbers in front of me, but I think it was like Rochester was maybe 2 for 21 or something in the shootout through 4 games. Whereas if they would have all ended in 3 rounds and you would have told me they went 2 for 12, I would have said it's not a big deal. But yeah, the numbers didn't look pretty. A shootout is a shootout, honestly, Gene. I know it's fans love them. I personally have never really been that big a fan of them, especially when we know that in 2 weeks they're not going to matter. But they do now. They do for extra points. Rochester's got some really talented shooters on their team. And I also think it kind of helped, like I said, when it came to last night, Fedotov, not only had he not seen a lot of rubber for a bit there, but he entered the game on a 4-game winless skid. Maybe some confidence issues that Rochester was able to capitalize on. But ultimately, every shot, in a shootout, it's 50-50, right? Half a chance you flip a coin, he's going to score. You flip a coin, it's going to be a save. And the Amerks have just been calling heads and getting it in the last 2.
Yeah, the Marlies have dropped 4 now here, Andrew, and the Amerks are closer to the Marlies in the standings than Utica is to the Amerks, and the Amerks with a game in hand also on the Marlies here. And what would be the benefit? Remind us, what that play-in round. We can discuss this. The team might just not discuss this, but any chance here the Amerks could actually climb up to 4th, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I'd love to talk about it. I was kind of looking at some numbers earlier. So, I think the first thing, the most important thing is get that X next to your name, get in the playoffs. And based on the math I'm looking at here, if everything goes perfect, Rochester can secure a playoff berth as soon as Friday night. That's obviously to make matters, first and foremost there. In order to do that, Rochester would need to win both tomorrow at Syracuse as well as Friday at Springfield. Now, while they're playing Wednesday and Friday, the Comets, who are the team right behind Rochester, they're playing a home-and-home with Toronto Wednesday and Friday. So it's funny, what do you want here, right? Because we're talking about the Amerks trying to jump the Marlies, but you have to get in the playoffs. So it's one of those teams. Either the team behind you is going to stay within reach or the team in front of you is going to pull ahead to the point where you can't catch them. I think they could do it. If Utica wins both of these games and Rochester wins both of theirs, the silver lining is you are getting closer and closer to Toronto, and then you can threaten for that 4th spot. You can sit there and be like, okay, well, I don't want the Comets to win. Ultimately, Rochester is in control of their destiny. Their magic number is down to 8. You've got 6 games left. You go 4-2, you're in the playoffs. Doesn't matter what anybody else does. In terms of the importance of the 5th or 4th seed, Gene, those 2 teams would meet in a play-in round. That's the best of 3. It's been a few years since Amerks fans have seen that because the team has finished higher in the standings over the last, I want to say it was 3 years. So it'll be a best of 3 instead of that best of 5. If the Amerks get the 4 seed, they would be able to host 2 of the 3 games. As of right now, I think it is fair to say that they will either play Cleveland or Toronto in that play-in round. I think it's just about, since the Monsters got a point last night, it's not entirely impossible, but it's extremely unlikely that Rochester is able to get as high as 3rd. I think they'd need to win out and Cleveland would need to lose out for that to happen. I think the 4 seed to be nice, especially because first half of the season there was a lot of complaining about home ice not really being an advantage, but Rochester's won a few games on their home territory of late, including that big one against the best team in the league, Providence, on Saturday. So if you get to your barn more than you have to be away from it in that best of 3, and you've got that Rochester faithful crowd behind you at Blue Cross Arena, I really do think it is truly home ice advantage. Yeah,
as the Amerks at 69 points on the season, 7 up on Utica, and Warren Kozel told me the magic number is at 6. So for the Amerks here, which that would as you said, that could be as soon as Friday here. We're joined by Andrew Mossbrooks, who you were in attendance for that game. You brought up the win over Providence, and I was at the arena, and from the get-go, you see, okay, Providence. They're fast. They're big. You can tell, just eye test, this is a good team. Andrew, the Amerks were the better team in that second period. And even though that didn't go in terms of a goal there, just what that kind of showed me is, all right, on any given night, the Amerks can actually play with anybody in this league.
Yeah, they really can. Warren is right. My math is. I told you I got in late, so I thought the magic number was 8. No, we cut it down to 6. So that's great. And good on Warren for having that. But as far as the team goes and that win over the Bruins, Gene, I think the last couple of weeks they've shown. It is remarkable. And the only thing I can think of is to credit Mike Leone and this coaching staff because, we have a lot of really good human beings on this team, and there's a lot of really strong character in that room because I think if you had you'll hear this with the baseball cards, so to have an analogy similar to that, if you look at the back of the Topps hockey trading card, this is not a group of a lot of high prolific players, high-end draft picks. This is a group in a lot of ways, Gene, that some underdogs, some guys that were discarded by other organizations who didn't want them anymore. And in some ways, I almost feel like that's maybe acted as a galvanizing energy to the Kuntars, to the Joshuas of the world, to the Costantinis and Red Savages that thought, I'm probably not going to play in this league, at least this season, to the Olivier Nadeaus who, really struggled to even get a rep in the AHL over the last 2 years of his entry-level contract. And obviously you have Helenius, you have Jones, you have these elite players, but they're surrounded by guys that have next man up mentality and are kind of in a situation where they went from undesirable in one organization or place to undeniable here with the Amherst.
Yeah, the Amherst will be in action against Syracuse tomorrow night with just one home game left in the regular season. That'll be on the 17th. Andrew Mossbrook's joining us fresh back from his trip in Cleveland. Providence, back to that game, Andrew, and it being Don Stevens' night. Credit to your front office for putting it the way they did, but that also felt a little different to me. Yes, you won in the shootout, but just between the building and the guys running on the ice, your thoughts on that night overall, where we saluted a voice that has been familiar to us for 40 years here.
Yeah, I mean, anytime that you're asked about Don, it's really hard to be concise. Granted, he and I are both broadcasters, so we never know when to shut up. But I think that was a really, really, really special night for everyone involved. And most importantly, it was special for Don. You can see, I was talking after the game about what got me. He had a terrific speech. Just everything about it was great. But what got me is he gets announced. He walks onto the ice. There is an ovation that begins. It rises to a standing ovation relatively quick. And the standing ovation continues. And then Don looks like he's maybe about to speak. And then the standing ovation gets louder. And Don, being a true artist, knows, and I'm sure part of it was organic, his emotions, but also just the art that he did on those Calder Cup winning calls of letting the crowd be the voice. And he did it there. And the crowd just roared. And I remember I looked at David Leggio, who was next to me in the booth that night. I was fortunate enough to call that game. And I looked at him, I looked at my arm, and I'm like, I have goosebumps.
Yeah.
This is incredible. This is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in minor league hockey. And it shows we went into this season, and just a little behind the scenes here, when we were talking and we were planning, and for fans that don't know, we're already talking now about what next season looks like, just because you have to. There are certain things you have to get done. And I remember saying that regardless of how the team performs this year, one of, if not the key storyline for the Amherst 70th season is going to be Don Stevens. And I think you saw that in the arena from the fans with the ovation. You saw it on the testimonials from so many players and coaches and broadcasters of yesteryear in the American Hockey League. You saw it from the league's in-house recognition along with the front office. I said to Don, I jokingly said, you should retire more often with the kind of gifts he's been getting. And then you saw it at the very end of the game. Matteo Costantini scores in overtime. I saw Brendan Warren go to get the puck, and I just thought to myself, well, that's the game puck for Costantini. It's his first career overtime winner. And lo and behold, it was to give to Don Stevens when he went down, walked into the dressing room, and basically got a standing ovation from the players. The hashtag Do It For Don, I saw some fans posting that in the summer after he announced his retirement. And I think they really did do it for Don on Saturday night.
Yeah, and then the first star What are the rules when it comes to the 3 stars of the game? It can be a broadcaster. I mean that was certainly fitting, but I didn't know that you could do something like that.
Yeah, technically speaking, though, I mean it was very cool in arena. If you look at the game sheets from AHL.com, unfortunately for Don, Matteo Costantini was that game's first star. But in arena, who cares? Who cares? Right. In arena, it was great. I wish he would have skated onto the ice like the players and threw a T-shirt, but I guess that was asking for too much.
There was so much there. Like my son, who doesn't know, Don from way back, but there's a photo of him skating on the ice, and he asked me, "Who did Don play for?" I'm like, I don't know what that is. Like, I would love to see video of Don on the ice, and he's wearing this sweater. It's it looks like kind of like a media event. It says Coca-Cola on it. I mean, but I just can't even imagine Don wearing it. But that's how long he's been here, Andrew.
Yeah. He actually, I asked him about skating, and he said that he dug out a pair of skates about 25 to 30 years ago. That there was rust all over them, and that was the last time he picked up a pair of skates. But yeah, I mean, like. And obviously, this, Gene. Like, I've only been in the market for 3 years. I knew Don a couple of years before then, and got to kind of work with him like on and off, just sort of keep in touch basis when I was with at the time Rochester's ECHL affiliate, and doing that versus then being by his side for the last 3 years has been incredible. And I think I learned so much from him both on and off the air. And then you just kind of learn, you learn based on what other people say or how other people act around him, just to get the kind of appreciation he's had. It's crazy. There are people that they'll say things to me, and I've had a couple of people say, "Oh, you're ready for 40 years?" It's like I dismiss those questions immediately because nobody will ever do what Don Stevens has done here. Nobody will ever truly replace Don Stevens, nor will they be able to duplicate the kind of impact he's had on a community. He's been a soundtrack to the city of Rochester that I've also just learned to appreciate how amazing it is that we have a city that has so many longtime voices, right? Craig Rybczynski with the Nighthawks and Wetzel with the Red Wings and Don with the Amherst, of course. And I think one thing that was really, really nice, and this year it's been a privilege, is to get to know Don's family a little bit more, and specifically his son, Steven. His last name is not Stevens, for anybody that's wondering. If it's Steven Stevens, it's not. I think what kind of got me, and I feel like I think I'm good enough to say it. I got choked up when we talked about Saturday, but I just remember Steven telling me earlier in the year, how much he would listen to his dad, and sometimes he'd be in the booth and listen to his dad, but he never really got to sit and watch a hockey game with his dad. And they got to do that as a family on Saturday. And I just think that's so powerful. And I asked Don after the game too, you've called thousands of games, so many wins, a couple of championships, but I hope that this is one of your most memorable Amherst games. And he said it was.
Well, my memory, and it's a memory that Warren Kozel retold him, oh my gosh, he actually is going with this story, because if you were at the game on Saturday, not only did you have the video tributes from Kenny Albert and others, but you had just kind of people writing their thoughts. And the story was this, and I'm sure you've heard the story, but for everybody else, and this goes back to, I can't remember the exact year, Andrew. I'm going to say 2018 ballpark, not that long ago. But the Amherst are playing in one of these short series against the Marlies. It's a best of 5. And poof, they're gone. The thing I remember about that series, they were all one-goal games, and it was just gut-wrenching that, after all that, you lose to that team in this fashion. And when the season ends, you want more content. You want to know more. You want to, and you go to social media to kind of. And I'm going to the social media after the Emmerich season comes to an end, and I see the tweet from Don Stevens that says, "That caps 50 years for me in broadcasting. Thank you, Emmerich fans." And that's how I left it. I'm like, okay, and I'm interpreting this one way, but I don't know. Did he just actually retire? So I text Warren Kosel right away. I'm like, did Don just retire? And I wasn't the only one because of the way you kind of read that. And Don then, if a little while after had to clarify, no, I just meant that wraps up my 50th year. I'll talk to you next year. And I thought it was just kind of a funny anecdote that we thought he retired, Andrew, 5-6 years ago here.
Yeah. That's been brought up a number of times. They said we got to find a way to get that tweet screenshotted in a video for Don, and I'm thinking it'll find its way in comically somewhere. But yeah, I guess we should ask at the end of this season, Don, are you officially retiring? So we may have to clarify on that. But hopefully, I did say last night, since you brought up the series with Toronto, I said on the air, I'm going to make a bold claim. We have to play the Toronto Marlies in the playoffs because Don's done this retirement tour of all these teams this year. His final game in Cleveland, awesome shootout win. His final game in Belleville, sick overtime win. Final game in Utica, big lopsided win. Final game in Toronto, which was in March, we lost 3-0. It just doesn't feel like the way to go out of that building.
No.
So we got to go back. So I said, Don, it's a retirement tour right now, and in the playoffs, it's a revenge tour.
Don, sorry, Don. Let's. You're gonna have to be working for June if we have our way.
That's right.
Andrew, I assume it'll be you and Don on the call tomorrow night in Syracuse, then.
Yes, and Syracuse will be doing some things to honor Don as well on the way out. Cleveland did a great job last night of honoring Don. It was they gave him a plaque, recognized him during the game. You called me out at the top of this, right, with my bright suits. I don't know. People are referring to it as Barney, which I don't like, but yeah, we'll be there.
You said it, not me, my friend. Like I'm just stepping aside here. I did not say a thing about your suit, however ugly it might have been, but you said that. So.
Listen, I tried reselling it on the market last summer. It didn't go. Nobody bought it, so I'm like, I'm going to have to roll it out again.
Yeah, speaking of reselling, this is going to be my final thought. None of this stuff Don is receiving better end up on eBay anytime soon.
Did you see that the Don Stevens bobblehead giveaway, within 10 minutes of the doors opening, somebody had already listed one on eBay?
What is it? Tim, look that up. What is it going on?
I already looked. It was $45.
45, that's it?
I think that was the first one. There might be more now, but the first
one
was 44.
They literally took photos, holding it, and you could tell they were in Blue Cross Arena, like they just got it. Immediately money.
Wow, that's cold-hearted.
Yeah.
Andrew, appreciate on short rest here, but you're a gamer. Coming on with us today. We'll be checking out the game tomorrow night. Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Heck yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks, Andrew Mossbrooks. They haven't said he's voice in waiting. We're just kind of assuming that, right?
They have not announced it, and they have not said it, but they've said it without saying it, kind of thing. We know what's coming. Yeah. There's, unless something changes or he decides to go on, I think that this is his job.
By the way, I didn't say this to him, but he's like, yeah, longtime Rochester voices. Ripper, Craig Rubzinski, Nighthawks. Josh Wetzel, Red Wings. How about me and the other guy who's on the other station right now calling RIT hockey? I wasn't going to say anything. But
who are they?
Who are they?
Who could you possibly referring to?
I don't know.
I'm not sure either. Don called him Barney last night off air. I thought that was hilarious. He spent not the entirety of the game, but most of the breaks were spent rationalizing what he was wearing because one of the Monsters assistant coaches had a similar color on, and Don was not letting him get away with it.
All right, so next time, the I Love You, You Love Me song, next time we have Mossbrooks on.
I can make that happen.
We'll make that happen. Just kind of speaking of childhood rhymes, and I know, one of the goats here of listeners, Chris in South Central Kentucky, hates this open. And Chris, I love you. But you're wrong because it makes you mad. It makes Tim mad. We will have Terrible Time Timmy's Terrible Take. We'll have more takes as well. And your calls. Mike Leone joining us next hour as well. 866-4326, the area code, proudly 585, here on WGR Rochester. Window Nation, and spring has arrived, and it's a great time to open up your windows. And well, hold on, your windows won't open easily. They leak when it rains. They have cracked glass. They need repainting again. Getting top quality custom fit windows from Window Nation is easy and affordable. And right now, the more you buy, the more you save sale. Well, you could save up to 50% off all your windows. Plus, you can get them with 0 interest for 5 years. During uncertain times, one of the best investments you can make is in your home. In fact, experts report that windows retain 80% of their value. With Window Nation, you'll get windows that easily slide open and closed. They're made with top quality seals, so they won't leak when it's rainy or windy. And unlike other windows, they're maintenance free. They're so good, Window Nation stands behind them with a lifetime warranty, and they're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. Don't wait to put an end to your window problems. Save big with Window Nation's The More You Buy, The More You Save sale going on now. Sale ends soon, so visit windownation.com now for a consultation.
Bills coverage every day.
Straight up with no chaser. You're in the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
We're only 16 days away from the draft, and hey, we're running this contest you should let you know about. It is called The Night Before. It takes place on Wednesday the 22nd at Rivers Casino Event Center, and it features Jason Aldean, John Morgan, and Shane Profit. Visit Odyssey.com/The Night Before to enter now for your chance to win this national contest. Your prize includes round-trip airfare, 2-night hotel stay, 2 tickets to the show. And then, gosh, you can, I think, hang out there for the draft right after. Again, in Pittsburgh, the night before. The contest goes until the 12th, so it's a good time to enter this now. Again, Odyssey.com/The Night Before.
It's now time for Terrible Time Timmy's Terrible Take of the Day on WGR Rochester. WGR Rochester. It's Terrible Time Timmy.
Oh, man. So today I got my blood pressure taken, and it was high, and I think the song is the cause of it. But as long as you're joyful and cheerful,
That is your role, to make me happy.
I will allow my body to implode and explode within itself as long as you get to enjoy that silly song. Brian from Avon, a true gem. We talked a little bit about Andrew Mossbrook's Barney suit. Augusta is deciding what people wear. Jason Day getting chirped, ironically, or no pun intended, I suppose. He's got a bunch of bird-themed outfits set up for Masters Week, and they've already told him they're dressing people. They are dressing grown-ass men. Augusta is choosing what these people can and can't wear, which means to me that they have to tell the club their outfits for the week so they can decide what they can put on. That is absolute insanity to me. If you want to look like a doofus, look like a doofus. I wore a banana for 4 years. It was awesome. Andrew Mossbrooks looks like Barney every once in a while. He feels good. You look good. Whatever. Jason Day wants to look like I don't even know. Like, it doesn't look bothersome to me, but Augusta is telling him that he is not permitted to wear what he has selected to wear. That is baffling to me that, one, adults allow this to happen, and two, that Augusta would even think to do it in the first place. But Augusta kind of calls their own shot, and they continue to do so. Day is not the only person that has been told what to wear or had to modify what they were wearing.
Are you kidding?
It is insane to me that this is even a topic.
All right, so tomorrow our focus will shift to the celebration of wealth, that being the Masters. And when you're wealthy and you're in a country club like Augusta National, this is how you throw elbows. And look, is that something you or I or any normal person would wear? Something with a bunch of birds. It's very loud. It's very look at me. But I would say, where is like the line? Because you have these golfers, Tim, that are literally walking billboards. Like, we don't discuss, because who cares about marketing and advertising, right? But there's so much money into I'm wearing Titleist or Callaway or whatever the hell your sponsor is. Paychecks, Tom Golisano. Mr. Golisano, you know what? You made a very good investment because Jeff Sluman wore that for years. Okay? But to me, that's like, you can wear ads. Like for Liv, they wear their dumb Liv logos, which I will never quite grasp. I don't care. They want Day also to wear solid colored pants. It's silly. It's Wimbledon with their own all white, too. Like, this is tradition. We're going to go over some of these silly rules at the Masters. And you know what? All that being said, I kind of love the Masters, Tim.
Yeah,
I kind of love the Masters. This is just them throwing elbows.
I think that's a conflicting part of it, too. It's like, I don't mind tradition. I think tradition is awesome and should be adhered to for the most part. But
But where's the line? That's the
Right,
question. Yeah.
You don't get to tell me what I get to, like, if I walk into a building and they send me home for what I'm wearing, what am I doing? Like, if there's bars and stuff that have dress codes, if I can wear this to work, why can't I wear it to your bar? Like, forget it. I'm out of here. I'll go somewhere else.
I think, like, if we're putting this through an NFL lens, I always find it silly. Like, NFL players will get fined, like, hey, you were wearing your socks too low. Well, that's the NFL uniform. This is golf. You're an individual. This is an individual sport, right? So you create your own uniform. Not here, though. Not at Augusta National. We have standards, Tim.
I got to find my way to Augusta in a banana. Think that would fly?
I don't think at all. I think it's hilarious that, like, your picture is actually online. We tweeted it out yesterday, like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's an old one. That was.
It doesn't. That doesn't look like it looks like it could be something else, Tim.
No.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I think that it looks exactly like a human banana, as I was.
We will talk to head coach Michael Leone. Thank you, Tim. That wasn't a terrible take today.
Appreciate it.
That was actually a very good take. You got to work on being bad because nobody likes it when you bring up
You're right.
stuff.
I said it the other day. I'll try to suck again tomorrow.
Well, maybe like you're right about that open. I'll get something even worse. Like if anybody wants to submit something that they think is worse than that open, like I pictured like maybe like a pinwheel hat and a kazoo or a clown.
There
car
we go.
Or
Yeah,
like that. We'll talk to Michael Leone. Coach Leone's like, I'm too busy. I'm not going to go on with you fools. Michael Leone will be joining us here later, and we have time for your calls as well on the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line at 866-4326. My name is Gene Battaglio with Tim Schneider and the Dan DeLorean here on WGR Rochester.
Everywhere you go at WGR Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester, an Odyssey sports station. WGR Rochester, sports update.
6. That's the magic number for the Rochester Americans to get back to the postseason. This after the shootout win in Cleveland. Amherst tomorrow night playing at Syracuse. Head coach Mike Leone joining us later this hour here in the Sports Bar. The Sabres get another win over Tampa Bay. They sweep the season series. Alex Tuck says it's on to the next one.
We got to take this and take the confidence that we get away from wins like this, and we got to roll with it, honestly, because when it comes down to playoffs, it's usually the hottest team that makes it the farthest, and a team that has a really good base and structure and some of the deepest teams. And I think we can check off all those boxes. I'm really excited to finish off strong, a couple more games, and playoffs.
Sabres tomorrow night at the Rangers. That game you can hear on 96.5 WCMF. The Red Wings begin a series tonight at Lehigh Valley. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, WGR Rochester.
Pull up a chair, stay for a while. You're in the sports bar on WGR. Grab a drink, hang your coat, get sports talk. Live from Western New York. It's a master show. 9 times better than your typical host. 9 times. Gene and Tim have takes much hotter than most. No one cares when you're out. Sabres! Bills, Americans, Red Wings, and Nighthawks. Sports Bar. For Rochester Sports Talk.
Hour number 2. Thank you for joining us here on WGR Rochester. Gene Battaglia, Tim Schneider, Dan Drummy, and you at 585-866-4326. Mike Leone to join us here in a little bit. The Bills news today is, hey, there's DJ Moore walking into his new place of employment, the wide receiver. Yeah, it's OTA season, and it's one of those overblown stories like, yeah, here's a bunch of guys, and they're gonna work out together, and they might do a little bit of football, but they can't get coached up. The rules are very, very light. But it's just the idea that you're in the building and you're doing work in the building together. So I'm sure we'll have more things kind of dribble out here, but the mandatory mini camps, that'll be much later here in the spring. Crazy to think that we will, well, just 2 weeks from now, be on the draft. And with the Sabres playing better, it just feels like we're a little late getting to the draft talk. I promise we will have we'll get more into it, but there's been other things that have been occupying us, which is a good thing, right? We want variety in our diet here at Sports Talk, and we will have plenty of time to talk about the Bills draft and what they should do with 26. We've talked about it already here. I would absolutely love for the Bills to take a wide receiver that has some 5.85 roots, somebody by the name of Casey Concepcion. My draft crush. He could be a true number 2 developing into a number 1. Hey, those hands, you could develop the hands. If that's the only knock here, draft him at 26. But ultimately, I think the Bills have so many needs on the defensive side of the ball, whether that's the line, whether that's linebacker. And yes, hey, if there's a lights-out safety, if there's a corner, I wouldn't put that past the Bills too. I mean, who's corner 3 on this team right now? Tre'Davious White's still, out there, I suppose, but you will bring in other veterans. But this second wave of free agency is kind of slowed down here, and it's almost like the Bills are waiting for the price to come down on some things. And again, we are draft coming up, and then after the draft, the Bills will probably fill in a few more needs after that. At 585-866-4326, Mike Leone, head coach of the Rochester Americans, coming up here at the bottom of this hour. One thing the NFL does well as compared to other sports is the schedule. Not only do they make the schedule release its own piece of content that will gobble up a whole week, which is kind of crazy, right? But they seem to understand how to lay out a season. Like putting Bills Chiefs, for instance, that's going to be in prime time. It's not going to be buried on Sunday at 1 o'clock, okay? Now let's compare this to, I don't know, what sport was playing last night? Oh, yeah, baseball. Baseball, which came off an unbelievable World Series. Best since ... We could debate that. But Blue Jays, Dodgers left you wanting more. I didn't even notice this till last night when I was out at trivia night. I'm like, wait a second, this game's on tonight? Dodgers, Jays, and the Dodgers just blew apart the Jays, right? Yeah, the rematch of one of the best World Series in recent memory was on Monday night, April the 6th. Now, not ideal, right? You're going up against the national championship game. It's not on network TV, Dodgers, Jays. That game should be in the May sweeps. We should own a weekend in July. It should not be April the 6th in Toronto. Now, I know what you're going to say here as your objection. Well, baseball didn't know that Dodgers, Jays would actually be a thing. Fair enough. So why this need to release the Major League Baseball schedule? It's usually it's a dull day in July or August, and like, oh yeah, here's the thing you didn't ask for, and I'm doing this right now to the camera. Here is next year's schedule. Like, what? Stop! I'm in this year. Like, that should be something that you want to grow the game. Baseball, Dodgers, Jays. Don't put it on a Monday night in April. Now, as it turned out, that game was terrible last night. But Tim, you can mock the NFL schedule, love.
Yeah,
and
no,
I know you have your feelings on that, but your feelings come with, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, and we suck. It doesn't matter when we play the Steelers or the Ravens. Just get it over with.
We punt the schedule, yeah.
That's it. Like, I have an appetite for the Bills' schedule that is voracious. And so do a lot of other people. I want the schedule now.
I'm on board with you with the way that Major League Baseball does it. It's wrong, but there's got to be some logistics reasons for it to get everybody hoteled.
Cheap, right. Cheap. Like the NFL does this for logistic reasons?
The NFL does everything. Everything the NFL does is correct. Every other commissioner we have qualms about.
Well, the hotel thing, you can fill in the blanks later. These are going to be the home dates, and we will figure that out. Are they really doing it to book the airfare?
I don't know the answer.
The answer's that. They are so damn cheap. Like, it's okay to
And you mentioned the other day, there's an ownership problem.
Right. So, right. There are things that baseball can do to improve the product, and if you have a rematch where, like, wow, this should be an event, except that is head-to-head against the national championship game, which you may not be into Michigan or UConn, but that's where the eyeballs are going to go. I'm sorry. And even so, like, I would keep that away from the spring playoffs and the NBA. Give it its own standalone. I don't know. They should make me in charge of some things in baseball. I would certainly help out. I see these rumors online about a Bills uniform tweak. I don't see anything official on that, right? And again, talk about things that we're voracious for. And the Bills are, like the NFL, they're masters at controlling their message, right? Wouldn't you love to know, all right, we saw the red helmets. Will we get the red helmets on a more regular basis? What kind of will those they're not even color rush. What the version of City Connect, will we get those back? Hey, all in due time, right? But we have another team here that is putting out, I don't know what to make, how they're describing this. This team is saying that they're going to have a new uniform collection. All right, does that mean you're changing the whole thing? Or you're just going to switch up your alternate? I don't know. But the Baltimore Ravens, coming up on the 16th, will be unveiling what they describe as their new uniform collection. That'll be to a PSL owners event. The Commanders also getting new uniforms. So the NFL knows and understands that right before the draft, this is the perfect time to remind your fan base, hey, we're gonna tweak some things here, kind of the uniform. I always of the opinion too that as much as I like kind of stories like this, if your team is really, really good, you don't need to do this stuff. Like, do you see the Chiefs doing a rebrand? Maybe. And maybe I did see something, but they're kind of forced on that. Will we get a Bills uniform change at some point? Maybe, but they're really good. Now for the Sabres, that's really all we had for many, many years. Like, okay, we didn't like the Navy. We didn't like the Slug. Can you bring back the Royal? hey, we really like the goat heads. Can we bring that back? And now everything for the Sabres seems in its rightful place. You're smiling at this.
Yeah, no. Well, I've lived through all of their jersey renditions, and you've got the goat heads. You have the original logos. They tried to tweak things that didn't need to be tweaked while the team stunk, and it worked because they made money off of it, but it didn't work because the product on the ice was awful. And now we don't have to that's what we clung to as fans. It's like, oh, we're getting new jerseys. We have
that's
new
it.
things, and now it's like, no, the hockey product's awesome. We'll wear whatever.
That's it. That's it. Like you when your team is winning, and that's why throwback uniforms more often than not. There are exceptions like Tampa Bay, but Tampa Bay did make an NFC Championship game wearing the creamsicle, so you might have good memories that you associate with Doug Williams making plays for the Buccaneers. When that was way before your time.
I remember him. Well, I don't remember him, but I know of him. Winless season.
Yeah, he wasn't the quarterback. You know who was the quarterback for the winless season? Steve Spurrier. Steve Spurrier, the head coach.
The more you know.
Yeah, the more you know. I'm good for useless trivia like that, Tim, as you know. 866-4326 is our phone number. And we mentioned some of these games they've moved up here today. Royals are leading your Guardians. They're in the fifth, 1-0. Did the Guardians get a hit here yet?
They have a pair of hits, including Juan Brito's first career.
All right. There you go. I didn't know Rhys Hoskins is now in the Guardians, so I'm not brushed up on my Guardian baseball. Mets have been moved up. Yankees are at the stadium tonight taking on don't call them the Sacramento Athletics. They're just still the Athletics until they actually get to Vegas. I don't know why this is such a big headline, but I got to be careful how I phrase. Like, this is actually a headline story on ESPN.com right now. Steve McMichael had CTE.
Really?
You're kidding me. Like a former NFL player who has a 5-year battle with ALS, and now you're just telling, shouldn't we just assume that everyone has CTE? That's why, for Cam Scattaboo, just to kind of what he did last year, it doesn't even matter. I'm like, dude, you think you aren't any different? Like, I don't know if that makes us callous, but I'm just wondering, why is this actually a story? Shouldn't we just kind of assume that everybody has this?
I think it would be more of a story if it was like, no, he did not have CTE.
You're right. Yeah, that's
they're confirming it. I understand, but it's not you're right. It's not a story in the sense that he has CTE. It would be much more of a story is if his life deteriorated the way that it did without CTE.
Right. I don't know why that is being put out there right now. So there's another story too. Fernando Mendoza is not going to go to Pittsburgh for the draft. So he's actually going to stay with his family. I say good for him. It's your day. You're not mandated to go walk across the stage. And I'm waiting for the first prospect, to get out there and not to give Roger Goodell the man hug. Like the two-arm bear hug where it's been kind of the thing. Just, hey, nice to meet you, or shake your hand. It's a little weird because, hey, that guy is kind of working for the owners, and when the next labor agreement comes up, you're hugging I don't know. I like for the players. But back to Mendoza. He's interesting to me because we watched a lot of him. And is he going to be somebody like an Andrew Luck that you can see right away is making plays and will get his team to a postseason berth and he rises right off the get-go? Or will he be like countless other, top quarterback prospects? And I've seen it written both ways on Mendoza. It's interesting to me, too, because he does have that sort of Tim Tebow piousness. I'm so good. It's too good to be true. And that's what ultimately turned me off to Tebow. I'm like, come on, that's your brand, dude. And you're just laying into it. I'm going to wait and reserve judgment on Mendoza, but I could see it kind of going that path where me not liking Fernando Mendoza for that way. Is this really, really you, or is this the brand you're kind of developing? We'll talk to Amherst head coach Mike Leone He's coming up next. Big win for Rochester last night. And then last call at 866-4326, the area code probably 585. Gene Battaglia with you here on WGR Rochester.
Or 6. Odyssey is an equal opportunity employer.
WGR Rochester Sports Update.
The Amerks magic number to make the postseason now is at 6. This after getting the 2 points last night in the shootout win in Cleveland. Amerks tomorrow night playing at Syracuse. Head coach Mike Leone joining us next here in the Sports Bar. Sabres get another win over Tampa Bay. Head coach Lindy Ruff loving the home crowd.
I thought the energy inside the building was fantastic, and you could feel it right away. There's a lot of people walking around already, and a lot of people with Sabre jerseys on. And I can tell you that it's getting that feeling that, people are ready to fill the plaza and be ready for a real good playoff run.
Ruff this morning on with Joe DiBiase here on WGR Rochester. Sabres tomorrow night playing at MSG against the Rangers. That game you can hear on 96.5 WCMF. Rochester Red Wings tonight begin a series at Lehigh Valley. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, WGR Rochester.
Raising the bar on Rochester Sports Talk. You're in the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
Yeah, hockey's a funny game because sometimes you're the better team, as Mike Leone will say, and you don't get the points. I mean, last night there were stretches that like, oh, gosh, this isn't going the Amerks way, and the Amerks end up with the 2 points. That's all that matters. Coach, thanks for your time. I know coming, a late night for you. And your thoughts on finding a way last night to get the 2 points in Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we actually played really good for 55 minutes of the game. I think when you look at the chances that we gave up, it was 6-on-5 in overtime. I mean, if anybody watched the game, it was even game through 55 minutes. We were up 3-1, and they scored 2 goals at the end, 6-on-5. There's a few things we have to clean up there, but I thought for the most part of the game, it was a really even game, good hockey game. And, I would say a majority of their, really good looks came at the end of the game and in overtime, but it was really good to find a way to win.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to go back here to the week, that win over Providence on Saturday, Coach, and I was there, and you could see that Providence, okay, they're fast and they're big, and you understand why they have all these points, and they have the most points in the conference. Your team clearly outplayed them in the second. So what kind of – it gives you the confidence to know, all right, like on any given night, your team can certainly play with anybody in this conference.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're the best team in the league, not just in the conference. I mean, to have 50 wins with 6 games to go. I mean, we've been playing this way the last month. If you look at the game against Belleville, we had 9 minutes of ozone time to 3. We just can't let in 3 goals on 4 shots to start the game. We played really well against Charlotte as well. We've been playing really good hockey, and that's a really good team. I mean, they have 14 regulation losses, and it was a really good hockey game. We played really well. We probably had some looks to win in regulation, but really good effort from our group. Like I said, the last month and a half, going back to, when we went to the road trip, when we went to Laval, we've been playing really good hockey, and we have a lot of guys in the lineup that have never played in our league before, and they don't know any better. They just go and play. I mean, if you look at our roster, we have 11 guys on our team that weren't on our team or didn't play in our lineup at the start of the year, and it speaks to the group. I love coaching this group. They work hard, really hard, and more than I think there's been one time where we've been blown out this year in 67 games, and that's really hard to do in professional sports, and I love coaching the group, and, we're getting closer to our goal, but we still got to find ways to keep getting points.
Yeah, and you've had different guys step up. Your thoughts on a guy who got 2 for you last night, Trevor Kunter. Now, I remember him vaguely with Providence, and his dad has got Buffalo roots, but he's been a big, big part of your team. And, Coach, I think it kind of symbolizes, like, guys that, all right, I'm just going to come to work here. Your thoughts on Kunter?
Yeah, he's the best. He's the best as long as I'm the coach here. I love him. Like, he's didn't play in Providence. He didn't play in playoffs. He started out on our 4th line, and then due to circumstance, injuries, call-ups, him and Fiedler Schultz have 42 I think 42 goals combined for both those kids. They both have had career years, and usually anyone that you work hard and you're competitive, you're going to do well. And those are the guys I like coaching, and he's been incredible for our group. We're not here without guys like him, Trevor Kuntar, Jagger Joshua, these guys that, have played more than they've ever played before, and then they're probably in their entire careers. Those guys were, we didn't have them penciled in to play on the power play and play 20 minutes a game, but all those guys have done a great job on special teams, and they're taking advantage of their opportunity, and they've been phenomenal.
Normally when we have you on Tuesdays, there's a home game on the horizon. It's not this week. This stretch, Coach, you don't need me telling you. It's brutal. It's every other day. Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, all in different venues too. Friday, Saturday. Like, how do you manage this? Like, are you able to even get any ice time in with the guys in practice? How are you managing this rough schedule this week here?
Yeah, there's a lot of days off. Like, we got in really late last night, like 3:30. By the time the guys get home, now it's just more video practice. Everybody goes through it. Everybody has hard schedules. Everybody has, I was talking to Charlotte coach. They go on month road trips. Like, it's difficult in the American League, but, our last 3-3, we did really good. We, really good. We beat Syracuse, beat Toronto on Friday. I have no issues with our conditioning or how we play. It's just one game at a time approach. We got the job done on Monday. Good day off, have a pregame skate, and then get ready to play Syracuse on Wednesday.
Yeah, as Syracuse Wednesday, and then it's heading to New England this weekend. Coach, if I don't know, I know a lot of you guys in hockey are very superstitious, so I don't know where you kind of fall on this. And if you don't want to go anywhere near this, just say I don't want to go anywhere near this. But this is going to be a topic amongst Amherst fans, like the chase here to get this done. Magic number is 6. Considering the call-ups and the injuries, what kind of accomplishment would it be for your team to make the postseason here?
For me, I think anybody that follows the team, I think it's to be honest with you, I think it would be remarkable, to be honest. Like, there's a lot of other teams in the league that are going through what we're going through, and they're, 10, 11, 12, 13 games under 500. We've probably missed close to 300 games. When you talk about the people that have been lost from our team or traded, and this is not an excuse, it happens in the league, but there's two ways to go about it. You're either going to feel bad for yourself or look at our lineup every game and the other team has a better lineup on paper. You just go out there and work and compete. And, I think we're probably playing well enough where we probably could have 5 or 6 more wins, whether it was goaltending or special teams. But our group has come a long way. I think we're a lot better hockey team than we were when we started the season. And I credit the group. I credit our staff. I think it would be remarkable for us to get in. And then you look at the pieces that are out right now, the Fiedler, Schultz, we have 3 guys that were in the East Coast Hockey League that have played over 30 games for us on the back of them. They've done an incredible job, incredible job. We have Matteo Constantini that's playing on our first line that was supposed to play in the East Coast Hockey League this year. He has 4 goals in 6 games. We have Red Savage that was supposed to play in the East Coast Hockey League. He's playing second line center in the American League. And not to mention both kids are it's the first year playing in the American Hockey League, let alone, their first year professional. And then Nadeau has done a great job for us. He's never played in the American Hockey League. Sure, he's played games, but these guys don't know any better. They don't care. They just show up, they work, and it's kind of an identity with the group of that we've created as anytime, anywhere that we can play anyone. And if we play a certain way, we have a chance to win. And, that showed against Providence. That's as good of a team. And if you watch them play 5-on-5, they tilt the ice almost every single night, and not for a minute that I feel that way when we played against them.
Did you view yourself when you were a player in college, in the pro afterward, as that sort of guy too, kind of a chip on your shoulder, Coach? I mean, is there something relatable for you in these guys you're coaching right now?
Yeah, for me, for sure. I mean, look at all the guys that have been here the 2 years under our staff, like the Kozaks of the world, the Fiedler Schultz, the Josh Dunn, and not to mention, our prospects, what they've, I take great pride in, like, if you work and you're a hard worker and you compete, I do well with those types of guys. And we've had multiple guys, Fiedler Schultz, career year, Trevor Kuntar, career year, Jagger Joshua, career year. And what Helly and Wally are doing right now is 19 and 20-year-olds in the American League is incredible for me. And they're doing it they're getting the hardest matchups every single night. And you look at Nadeau. Nadeau's another one. That's the way I've wanted our team to play. I think we've done that in our 2 years here. I think, there's some things that we do really well. Like we're a great forechecking team, like great. And I really value that. Like pressuring the puck. And it's not just, we could talk about those things. The underlying numbers say that. Like right now we're a top 3, puck pressure team, forechecking team in the American Hockey League. And I take great pride in that. And I think we've been really good away from the puck. Our last 12 games, we were a top 5 defensive team, top 5 offensive team, not goals for and against, but what our numbers say. Like we're doubling O-zone time, D-zone time. We've come a long way as a group. And, that's the way I like our team to play. That's the way I believe the game should be played. And the guys have done an outstanding job buying into that.
We're talking to Mike Leone. The Amerks tomorrow night. The road trip continues. A little layover here in Rochester home before you head out to Syracuse tomorrow night. And another side is a time of year where you can get guys that are done with their collegiate career. You got a Bronco on the team here, Coach. What do we know here about? You can share with us about Liam Valenti, and I would assume correct, like normally you kind of onboard these guys and let them kind of get a few practices before they might see any action. What can you tell us here about the newest Amerk?
Yeah, well, that was, I have a really close relationship with Pat Ferschweiler and the Western Michigan staff. I played there. Pat Ferschweiler, I think, is, one of the top coaches, if not the best coach in college hockey, what he's done to that program. He coached in the NHL. He was my assistant coach in college. He was, Jeff Blashill's right-hand man for a lot of years. And, I thought Liam was, a borderline NHL contracted guy. He actually skates with Noah Osland in the summer. I actually just got a text from Noah about the kid. And, even when we brought Chris Douglas in, what he's meant to our group and solidifying a fourth-line role. And the character is the most important piece, and they have a high inner drive. They're competitive and they have a great work ethic. And, Liam checks the boxes, and, not many people could, winning a national championship is really difficult in college. And he was, to have 20 goals in probably the best league in college hockey and, over 60 points in 2 years playing at a winning program. I think he helps us, especially to play in a role with our team right now. I think he's, when he gets in, he's probably going to be in the middle 6, top 6, and playing a power play. He's a really good skater. He could really shoot a puck, and we're excited to have him. It might take some time just with, getting his visa situated, so you probably won't see him this week, but okay. Hopefully the last weekend of the year.
Okay, it's good to have some depth there. Coach, did you know on the Western Michigan website, if you toggle over to the hockey roster, your headshot is still up there, and it looks like your senior year, you might have bleached your hair here, Coach. I could barely. I assume this is you. It looks like you, but you got a full head of hair there, and most of it's blonde.
Yeah, no, I never bleached my hair. Maybe I got older. I spent a lot of time in the pool parties in the summer at Western. But no, never did any of that. I would be frowned upon that for sure.
That's for sure. One last thought, because for Amerk fans, just your thoughts on the 7,700 plus, giving the standing ovation for Don, but it wasn't only that. It was your team kind of saying, "Hey, we're going to go out there and take the game." Your thoughts on what was just both on the ice and off the ice, just kind of a fun night for Amerk fans against Providence this past Saturday, Coach.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I have an unbelievable relationship with Donnie. We're really close. I'm really happy for him that he's get to enjoy this moment because he deserves it. he's a huge part of our organization. I know it meant a lot for the group. He has a great relationship with all of our players, and it was just awesome to see. It just was a perfect night, honestly, for given the opponent that we were playing, the game that we played in front of them, to win it how we won it. It was just an amazing night, and I know it meant a lot to Donnie, and I just hope he was able to take it all in because he deserves it. And amazing person, and I have a lot of appreciation and respect for him. So it was an awesome night.
He's going to need to build another rec room or something for all these mementos he's getting, like jerseys and plaques and everything else. Like, honestly, Coach, he's like all these gifts he's receiving. He's a charm. He's living a charmed life right now.
Yeah, no, he deserves every bit of it. I think it's a great example of like what when you're done playing, coaching, broadcaster, what do you want your legacy to be? And I think Donnie's a great example of that. You remember the calls, and you remember, the winning the championship and him being on the call and all these things. But at the end of the day, it's, the person that he is, what the impact that he left on people. And I think that's more important than the broadcaster and all the accolades. But I think his legacy that he has and how respected he is speaks to the person that he is. And I think it's a great example of just for anyone, players, coaches, of, when you do it right and you do it right all the time and you have respect and you're honest and you're a good person, it goes a long way. And Donnie deserves all of this.
Well, Coach, appreciate after such a long trip back there. Get some rest here, and we're looking forward to seeing hearing the team tomorrow night. Don and Andrew will have the call 7 o'clock here on WGR Rochester, Amherst, Syracuse. Coach, good luck this week. We'll do it again next Tuesday.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks. That's Coach Mike Leone joining us here in the Sports Bar. As that is funny. Like, this is the era we live in right now. I feel old looking at this because I think 2013, that's not that long ago. And there's Mike Leone with a full head of hair and, like, as a player. And here he is. But he was not a guy that came out recruited. He started his collegiate career at Utica. Now, Utica, in terms of Division III hockey, really good. I mean, they're a program that, is always kind of in the mix there for the I don't know if they call it the Frozen Four at the Division III level, but they're always kind of in the mix there. But then he ends up in Division I level at Western Michigan, and that's a good program. And to me, he's always had that kind of underdog mentality, and it seems like there's something kind of clicking here.
Yeah, it was a unique pathway for him through his playing trajectory. He made it. He's a head coach at a very young age at the second highest professional level in hockey. So,
yeah, I mean, to make the jump there too from junior to the AHL, because I think when the hire happened, we're like, huh, really? Because we're going over our list of candidates, and I mean, you never heard of the guy, like, and so right. So to me, look, when you have a new GM at the NHL level, everyone's under review. Everyone.
I think he's got a pretty glowing review.
Yeah,
right
like
now.
that's right. So, like, what has happened here this season? Like, when I'm thinking, we've seen it with other coaches too. Like, all right, another guy who did an A+ job, Chris Taylor. Okay, no, we're going to make a change. All right, well, I would say this, that even if the Amherst say, as long as you get to the postseason, and if it's a short series, there's nothing you could do if the puck doesn't bounce your way sometimes. But I would certainly bring him back. Your call is at 866-4326, area code 585. Gene Battaglia here with you on WGR Rochester.
It's leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
Who is the top right now in women's college basketball? We can have that debate in terms of coaches, but that dust-up between Gino Auriemma and Dawn Staley was just not becoming. But you know what? Who comes out looking great out of this is actually Dawn Staley. For a few reasons. One, it's Gino who started the whole thing. For no reason, right? I was waiting there for her handshake, and that made me stuff. Look, get out of here with that. But then it's Dawn Staley, and this is kind of something we can kind of learn about this. Staley putting out a statement today. I spoke with Gino. I want to be clear. I have a great deal of respect for him and what he's meant to the game. One moment doesn't define a career and doesn't change the impact he's had on growing women's basketball. The standard at UConn is what is because of him, and this game has benefited for him. So I'm asking everyone to turn the page. Let's refocus on what matters most. And it goes on and on. That's the definition of taking the high road. And you are up here, and Gino says he reached out, or there was no excuse. He didn't actually reach out. So to me, Dawn Staley now, much more elevated than Gino, if you will. 5-8, it's last call here. 585-866-4326 is our phone number. Great show we had today as we talked a lot of Amherst hockey. Magic numbers at 6. Andrew Mossbrooks, who I think next time we're going to have to play the Barney theme.
We will make it happen for sure.
Like he's the one who brought that up. And then you said, Don said that off air. All right, well, you know what? We're bringing that on air. And it's a sign of acceptance, too, if you can needle somebody like that. Like how I needle you, Tim, here on the show.
I think that's the only reason I'm in the building.
It's it, right? So, like, if you don't needle somebody, you're not accepted, right? There was a Met years ago, Greg Jeffries. Everyone hated him. Nobody would talk to him just because you're a jerk, and we want you off the team. It was kind of give him the cold shoulder. So, like, honestly, yeah, that's kind of it's guide code for acceptance if you can kind of needle somebody, right? And we're needling Andrew Mossbrooks. Mike Leone. I tried to needle Mike Leone about his hair from 2013. He's which that's different. He's totally in coach mode. And he definitely wants to get this team over the finish line. The one thing he said that was interesting, because I gave him the out at the beginning, because some coaches are like, hey, let's talk about the playoffs.
Sure.
Next game is Syracuse. You don't clinch the playoffs against Syracuse. In fact, you win against Syracuse and you win Friday night in Springfield, you still might not clinch. All right? There would have to be a little bit of help. But the Amherst control their destiny, and it's a fair question. Like, all right, what kind of accomplishment? And it's like, yeah, it would be considering you have all these guys from the ECHL in the lineup right now, it would be an amazing accomplishment. And, in fact, in the time we've been doing the sports bar, 1.0 and 2.0, which, wow, if you combine the two, this will be 10 years coming up in August. This is the most like, what is this roster kind of Amherst team that we're looking at here? And it's a lot of it has to do with Buffalo. Certainly, and the players doing their jobs and earning roles up there, and part of it is the injury too, obviously. So we'll be talking Amherst hockey every Tuesday with Mike Leone for the rest of the season here. 866-4326 is our phone number. Red Wings tomorrow will face Zach Wheeler at Lehigh Valley. I don't know if they get the game in tonight. What baseball's rule is for cold temperatures. There was one game, the Tebow game here years ago, and I would assume the thermometer in right field at the stadium here downtown is accurate. 38 degrees. That's how the game ended. It didn't start 38. Right now the forecast in Allentown tonight, 42 for the game time temperature. Good that the the Red Wings are putting some day games next week against Buffalo. Buffalo's game tonight in Syracuse. That's already been called off. Tomorrow on the show, we will catch up with our friend PJ Glasser we're going to turn the page to the Masters. So a lot of talk about the Masters tomorrow with PJ Glasser, our betting expert. Also joining us on the show, Dan Fates, 13 WHAM and Buffalo Plus. He was at the game last night, and we will certainly continue to talk Sabres hockey. Sabres tomorrow night, by the way, taking on the Rangers, and the Sabres in the chase now to get a good everything's going to be tough in the playoffs, but the better matchup is to have home ice and face a wild card. I don't think your argument against that would hold up, in my opinion. If you missed any of today's show, download the Odyssey app. Go back and listen in the Rewind feature. Also, wherever you get your fine audio, Dan DeLorean has put everything up in bite-sized form for you to consume. We'll put another 2 hours of excellence on the air tomorrow. For Dan Drummy and for Tim Schneider, my name is Gene Battaglia. Amherst hockey tomorrow night here on WGR Rochester at Syracuse. Show up in the Bulldog coming your way next here on Rochester Sports Leader.